Yo, what's going on? Listen, can I start with a confession? It's been a rough week. The devil's trying to get me. I'm
Mm.
gonna tell you a funny story. So Sunday, right? I'm usually like a cynic, and I told myself this Sunday I was feeling good. I was in the spirit. I'm feeling good. I said, you know
Mm.
what? I'm gonna allow myself to be optimistic, right? Because usually
Good.
when something good happens, I always say the hammer's about to drop, right? I go, no, not this time. I got to be optimistic. Then what happens yesterday? My computer breaks down, bro.
Golly.
So now I'm back to being a little bit cynical. So
Oh no.
so we're here.
That was quick.
But the good news is today's gonna be a good show. Uh, we got the Holly Bells in the house,
Woo! Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
and how I met them was I go to a friend's. I guess it's like kind of like a Bible study. It's what would you, like a fellowship.
Small group.
Yeah, small group.
All
We
of
re-
the above.
we read the Bible, go over worship, and then have time for communion. And one day they just said, "Oh, we'll play some music," and they played some music, and it was incredible. And I was just like,
Nice.
"Man, they are so good." And the thing I noticed too about like really good musicians is they're all humble. I'm not
100%.
comparing you guys to Jimi Hendrix, but hear me out. Like if you ever listen to Jimi Hendrix in an interview, he's like the musical, probably the best guitarist ever.
Yeah.
And they always try to praise him, right?
Mhm.
And he's just like, hey man, I just do my thing. He's like the most humble thing, and I kind of got the same energy from you guys.
Mhm.
And so I'm glad you guys are here. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell us a
That's
little
Same
bit about
here.
sort of like because you guys have been doing music together as a group for what, like 6 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So tell
20.
us a little bit about how you guys
You want to start?
got started.
Yeah. We music's kind of like something that came out of the early days of us meeting. We met when Marnie was a senior in high school, and I was just out of high school. And I was actually running sound for a buddy's band. I was mixing and doing all that kind of stuff. And she showed up, and all my friends knew her, and I didn't know her.
That's funny.
But then she invited me to a play she was in at school, and I went and saw it. It was How to Succeed at Business Without Really Trying. I think
I
that's
don't
the
think
play.
they needed to know that.
Yeah,
but
but
it's a good
anyways,
one.
I don't know. Somebody might be a fan of musicals
That's
out there.
right.
But then I saw her sing, and I'm like, you have like a voice. Like, come on, what are you doing? So that's just always been a part of our relationship. And honestly, I wasn't around. I had buddies that were in bands, but I was never like really playing myself. And so I met Marnie, and her whole family were musicians. And so I started playing music with them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where was the when you guys were doing music? What
Hmm.
what area was it? Orange County? Was it
Yeah.
L.A.?
In Orange
Mhm.
County. So when we met, he actually introduced me to some of his musician friends, and then they were looking for a lead singer and for a rockabilly band. So that's
funny.
Yeah.
that
kinda
was my
50s.
first, like, yeah, I was in musicals in school, growing up and in school. And then, yeah, so we would go swing dancing and, back in the 80s, it was so fun. I love it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What was the guy? The Reverend something?
Reverend Horton Heat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was he would.
So
Yeah.
so from there,
Yeah.
like after we got married, we've been in a lot of bands together. But this, as far as the Holly Bells, it's been since 2016. And our daughter's the drummer, and she's 20,
Yeah.
and she's been taking lessons like since she was 10, and she's getting really good. And
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it's so fun. We're a family band, like the Partridge Family, but just a little bit
yeah,
different.
it's funny. In our little church group, they know him as the punk rock couple,
Oh,
the punk rock
gosh.
family.
That's really funny.
What a
That's
you've heard of it, right?
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
funny. They're like, oh, the punk rock family. Yeah, they're over there. And then before you guys started doing more of the like the Christian type music,
Mhm.
what was your musical influences
Hmm.
individually for you guys?
Mhm.
Marnie, you want to go first?
Well, that's always a tough question for me
Mm.
because I would just attribute so many bands, I mean, back when I first started singing, um, there's a band and it's a brother and sister, and they're called the Collins Kids. And they came out in like the late 40s, early 50s. And
Oh,
that's
cool.
kind of how I got my belt, was singing with Lori Collins, Wanda Jackson, like those rockabilly singers. So
Oh,
that's
cool.
how I started
Yeah.
out. But then I was super into Heart, Led Zeppelin,
Classic rock.
junior high.
Classic
Yeah,
rock.
like
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac and all of that. And then I just feel like I've collected, it's just this big recipe. But definitely, I don't know if you can think
Yeah.
of
Yeah. I
any more of
mean,
my influences.
I'm in love
Those are
with
early.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was good, Marnie. I mean, beyond like that's kind of like early, right? You have things you listen to when you're a kid, and as you grow up, your uh tastes change, or maybe
Mhm.
like for us, I feel like our taste just grew, so we
Mhm.
just listen to more and more. I grew up, yeah, listened to rock and roll, and then I had my time with punk bands when punk was like really happening in Orange County in LA. And then I found myself getting into like old country music like Johnny Cash and Hank Williams, and then the 50s rockabilly music.
That's
and
cool.
and now I kind of love everything,
Mm.
It's just music's, right? It's an adventure.
And then were you around, or were you part of the what was that scene? It was like a punk rock scene where the people, they didn't do drugs. What was it called?
Yeah,
Oh, like
that's called straight edge.
straight edge.
Yeah, Straight Edge.
Straight edge. I actually was right before straight edge, and I remember Marnie's younger brother Aaron wanted to go to a punk rock show, and I took him to this place in Long Beach called Fender's Ballroom. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
Sounds so familiar.
yeah, like
Mm.
the early punk rock was not fashion only; it was violent. People
People got hurt.
people got hurt, and there was this whole crazy things of like anybody with long hair was a hippie to punk rockers, and that meant fight. And I remember I had kind of been away from the scene, and then Marnie's brother Aaron's like, oh, can you take me to this show? And I went to the show, and all the punks were hanging out in this, you know in the venue with all these like kind of meddlers, and I thought it's going to be World War III, like this place is going to
Oh,
erupt.
yeah.
But it had transitioned into straight edge, and straight edge kind of took out the drugs and the violence, which is a good move.
Yeah, and
Thank God.
Yeah.
I remember too. There was a time in the '80s where I remember the punks and the cholos used to go at it in LA.
Yeah.
That was like a real thing. Like,
Yeah.
especially Hollywood when it was really shady.
Yeah.
I remember there was the this LA street scene.
Uh-huh.
Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
For all the young people, there used to be LA used to be cool back in the days. They would close down the city around City Hall,
Yeah.
Mm.
and they would have a free concert with great bands. I saw Gene Loves Jezebel and all these hip hop bands there, and I remember at one of the concerts, a riot broke out. Surprise, LA, right? And the cholos and the punks got into it, and then you just saw people like all bloody.
Yeah.
And then, like all good things, they kind of came to an end.
Yeah. Fortunately, the blood with
What do you
it.
want to know, bro?
Oh
You've
man,
been a little quiet.
what to
Yeah.
ask him? I mean, what to ask him? We have him here.
Yeah,
Israel was telling me, hey, bro, I got this punk band, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like I grew up in the '90s, as you all know, with the Latino Mexican movement, which is the Latino rock in Espanol, right?
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
So when he said a punk band, I'm like, I'm in,
Oh,
but
yeah.
because the influence, just the music itself, nowadays you got the OC Supertone, you know what I mean? You got these
Oh,
huge,
yeah.
you got these huge
Mhm.
bands now that are going mainstream, like Christopher, doing all these things. But
Yeah.
in Christian, the Christian, we went from, somehow it changed over the 2020, let's say 2010, 2016,
Mm.
they jumped into new metal. So there was a huge
Mm.
change from, you know, the old classical rock into the new
Mhm.
metal, which was more of a the double, you know, like you got the double
Yeah.
pump, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you know all these
Double kick
melodies
drum.
with the guitars.
Mm.
And when he said a pump, that freaked me out. I said, "Is it like that?" And I'm like, "No," but I know that, you know, you guys' style
We're
is like,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say. I mean, punk is
It's-
just like the blanket term.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could say alternative. You can say
Right.
Yeah.
whatever.
That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
we're
Yeah.
kind of bipolar, I think, in our no, just kidding. Yeah, it's funny because like when you ask about influences, I think about this singer Nancy Griffith, who is like a folk artist, and I just got really into her. And then we were in a grunge band together, so like
Yeah, we
funny.
did some 90s.
Soundgarden,
Yeah, we did some
um,
90s action.
oh,
Yeah.
definitely love.
Yeah.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins and
oh yeah,
like all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've lived through a lot of decades.
can we just give?
But we're still,
Since you're
know,
mentioning
in our
grunge,
30s.
Yeah.
can we give the Pixies props?
Oh, man.
They're like my favorite
yeah.
band. I feel like the
Yeah.
people. I don't know. They kind of have like a cult following,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
but I feel so. The people that like them really, really like them.
Mm.
But I feel like for how influential they were, in my opinion,
Yeah.
I feel like they still don't get enough props. I mean, there's a documentary where David Bowie even gives them props,
Yeah.
Bono, and all these people of just like the first time they listened to the, like, for example, the Doolittle album
Yeah.
or the Surfer Rosa album. But man,
Yeah.
I mean, those first like 3 albums are just
Yeah,
classics.
that band's amazing. So, yeah, I mean, you hear so many other bands when you hear that band.
yeah. And
Yeah.
what was the quote by Nirvana? They said we were just doing a cheap imitation
Hmm.
of the
yeah.
Pixies.
That's, yeah.
wow.
And that's Nirvana, and that's the one that everyone praises. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
yeah.
cool.
I love that music's all resurging too. You
Yeah.
know, like I'll see my daughter who's 20 and she has a Nirvana sweatshirt on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reliving this. So.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean,
Mhm.
but yeah, I just that's like my probably like my favorite group.
Wow.
Is
That's
the
a great
Pixies. And I
band.
got so a funny Pixie story. So obviously they were around, you know, late 80s. I think the last album was like 90, 91. And so I never got to see them because I
Yeah.
was too young. So when they played at Coachella in 2000, early 2000s, right? Forgot the year. I was like, I had to go, man, and I went. And just to show you how much of I went there for the Pixies, the headliner was Radiohead.
Yeah.
And the Pixies was kind of like the second bill. I didn't even listen to Radiohead, but back then Coachella wasn't like super expensive like it was now. So
Yeah.
oh my god! And I got to see them live and the first time, and it's cool because I'll see them like I'll see the footage of them playing, and I'm like, I wonder if I could see myself in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then right before I was gonna go to the concert, I was just dating this one girl, and I got tickets for both of us. And I was like, look, we kind of split. I said, look, I already got the tickets. How about you drive? I got and you get a free ticket. So it was a bittersweet because like I'm excited about the Pixies, and she hates me. You know what I'm saying? So it was a weird dichotomy. So I had a question too about when you guys actually, you know what? Before we go to that,
Yeah.
why don't we get a little sample?
Are you kidding me? I got so many questions to ask them, but yeah, I think it's only
Yeah,
fair
right,
to
we
allow
gotta
them
break
to
it,
people to see.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
rather than talk
It's
about it,
fun.
be about it.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Cool,
So
cool.
yeah, if you guys don't mind,
So a little bit. I know that there's a lot of while they get set up. Let's see here. Choose this camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys can hear yourselves. Everything good?
Yeah.
we're
Excellent.
live, people,
And
live and direct.
yeah, and you know, Pixies, by the way, right? The lead singer, is it Frank? Frank?
You're
Is
gonna
He
that-
be
goes by
here.
Frank Black.
Yeah, Frank Black. He plays a Martin guitar. He plays like the same kind of guitar I'm playing.
Oh, okay.
Right, but that's how like kind of how punk rock it is like a kind of a punky band, but he's got an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
right? Like he's like Johnny Cash, you know.
Yeah.
So that's so good. I love that. So this song maybe has a little bit,
Hello.
if anything,
It's a little,
little
new
more
wave.
new wave. So new wave was like this edge of the late 70s, kind of early 80s thing, while punk was breaking out. There was this other kind of funky thing that was happening, which was new wave. So
Okay. Say with a
triple
twist, beauty hasn't
any skin.
masses toast their highball glasses. Hallelujahs go on singing. Every story etched in thee. Born and bathed in purity. Wrapped tight in your affection. The counterfeit's gonna come again. Take me to the place where love increases. Break me from the accusations. New selves dance, holding hands. It's just enough to spin my world around. It's just enough to spin my whole world around. It's just enough to spin my world around. It's just enough to spin my whole world around. The evidence, brave dreams, my strength is killing me. You're what I need to weather storms. It's in your eyes. I am not. Take me to the place where love increases. Break me from the accusations. New selves dance, we're holding hands. Just enough to spin my world around. It's just enough to spin my whole world around. It's just enough to spin my world around. It's just enough to spin my whole world around. Around, It's just enough to spin my whole world around. It's just enough to spin my whole world around. It's just enough to spin my whole world around.
Woo! Yeah! Wow, man. Are you kidding me? That
Give
is
it up for
rocking,
Sonic
man.
Youth.
That's awesome.
That's our son's favorite band.
Wow. That is
Like,
awesome, man.
like,
Hey, wait a minute. I got a riff there, man. Oh, I'm impressed.
I
Wow.
got some water, bro. Give me the water, bro. Give me the water, bro.
Okay.
I got to cool down.
How about you? You guys got one?
Too much heat. Too much heat.
This is awesome.
Thanks.
Hey, where can
Oh.
people find you? Do your plugs.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much on socials, it's right at the
It's-
Holly Bells, you know.
Yep.
And it's just the Holly Bells.
Holly Bells is one
all
word, so-
yeah.
2 L's.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 L's.
2 L's.
Kind of
and-
Christmassy.
So Instagram, Facebook, and we're a little more faithful, a little more present to Instagram, but
Seems like, yeah.
then we have a website. So
Yeah.
Yep.
WWW.
And we have a couple
Yeah.
local shows coming up too,
yeah.
which we
Oh, cool.
many times when we leave, we're a part of something called the Extreme Tour, and they're based out of Nashville. And so we usually are gone for the summer, and
Oh, that's
we're
really cool.
traveling. But it's kind of fun because we have friends and family here, and
Yeah.
we have a show on June 21st and then July 8th, and they're both in Fullerton, and
Yeah.
we're already starting to
Everybody's
plug
welcome.
those.
So yeah, so find out about it, guys. Instagram, Holly Bells. Do you have any callers, bro?
No. Actually, the number to call everyone, 714-464-0747. Go ahead and dial in. You guys are welcome to ask them anything. Hey, listen, really quick to clarify, I wanted to let you all know why the reason why we have a live band. Listen, it's about ministry, right? This is you guys' ministry, right? This
Yeah,
is
it
what you
is.
guys do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I was going to ask you, how did that transition happen from being sort of a secular band? Because
Mhm.
dude, he's got a crazy story, bro, about
We want to hear it.
tell the crazy story about before he became a Christian.
Yeah.
Some of the supernatural stuff that he experienced. Can you? Tell us a
Yeah.
little about that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really, I grew up Catholic, so I went, First Communion, Catechism, and, I was even
Mhm.
confirmed in the Catholic Church. So that's all good.
Awesome.
I felt like that helped me when I
Mhm.
started, getting into devious things as a teenager. And what I found out is because I was so into music, it was like the bands that I kind of liked, like if it was like a big rock band, like you couldn't really get close to them. Like
Mhm.
I remember I went to a concert at the Angel Stadium, and I remember the guys were like little ants
Yeah.
on stage. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, like I'm already trying to figure out my life and trying to connect somewhere, and I can't connect with that. So that's where sort of the punk rock thing came in. We listened to this show. There was a show on Sunday nights called Rodney on the Rock
Oh, yeah.
on K Rock.
Yeah, he talked
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
He had a weird voice.
Yeah.
Wow, that is such a good impersonation.
But he played a lot of influential music for the time. He was
Yeah.
kind of a revolutionary if you think about it.
He was. Yeah. So we listened to this show and we'd record it because you couldn't buy the
Yeah.
records anywhere. So we'd had cassette decks and we'd record it and then we could play it in our car, and
Yeah.
like we do these like dawn patrol surfing, where you like surf before school. So you like paddle out, you get up at 4 a.m. and get donuts and put on punk rock and go down to the beach and get out in the water. But the thing that was really interesting for me with punk rock is it was obviously is really in your face,
Mhm.
and you could be at the show and the lead singer in the
Can kick
band's
you.
like spitting on you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's like
That's so true.
as close as you could get. But I remember, especially, I feel like in LA, we go to this club called Starwood up there. Tuesday nights is Starwood. And I would see lead singers in bands singing, and then, there's lights, right? So it's dark and the lights would flash. But I remember certain people, certain bands, the guys singing and the lights flash, and it goes from like, there's his face to like, there's a monster face, so like demon type of face, and I always thought like, oh, that's weird. How come that? Oh, wow. That's
And
just,
you were sober?
yeah. I was. I don't think my friends were, but I was, and, yeah. So it was just this kind of weird phenomenon that I couldn't figure out. And what happened kind of my process of faith was I had this buddy that would bug me like after PE class every day, so, like you have PE class and then you dress up and then you change and you come out and you're like waiting for the bell to ring. And I had this one friend that I knew and he's always like, hey, why don't you come to church with me, man? Like, hey, come to church with me. And I'm like, I don't want to come to church with you. Like he was like a guy that kind of some of my friends had an attitude about. So I'm kind of like, I don't want to hang out with you. But anyways,
And there it is.
but eventually he's like, hey, come to church with me. They're going to be talking about music at church. I know you like music. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went and this guy was talking about music. And this is back in the days where they were like like doing this thing they called backward masking, like where they play records backwards, and they're like, look, when you play the Beatles
Oh,
backwards,
yeah.
you
Do you
play the
guys
Beatles
remember that?
backwards, it says, turn me on, dead man. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
those,
yeah.
you know, that's evil, you know, so they're trying to expose all the evil in the music. And I thought to myself, that's so lame. I'm like, these guys know nothing. You know, I'm into punk rock. I'm into all this cool stuff. And this guy's talking about something from the 60s, you know? And then I went home and I would keep my records in my closet. I had like a little shelf in there. And I remember I opened my closet door and I just felt like an evil presence in my closet. I'm like, whoa. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I have this record by this band called Crass, and they like, ooh, they blaspheme Jesus on that. And I immediately like knew all the albums that I shouldn't have, you know what I mean, that were speaking out against God. And then I had that flashback to like, oh my gosh, like I was seeing things happening in the spirit and I didn't get it. You know, I'm
Like
involved in this thing.
manifestations.
Yeah. So these things are manifesting and I wasn't aware of them. And God like opened my eyes to what I was involved in. And I just started going to church. Like I had some friends that went to church on Sunday nights and I just started going to church with my friends.
Well,
So yeah.
That's a pretty cool
Yeah.
way to go to church. Well, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because people are just they usually grow up in the church and then they leave and then they kind of come back. But in your case, it was just like a friend invited you.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I'll check it out. Did you have any similar like supernatural experiences like him?
Well, since I was little, I've always felt a lot, like spiritually, either good or bad. Like I'm finding out. It's funny because I'm reading this book called The Highly Sensitive Person. I think her name is Dr. Erin. Anyway, sorry about that, but that's the title in case anyone wants to read it. And so yes, I actually had an experience when I accepted Jesus into my life. I was 5 and it was very much like I felt, okay, so my dad and my parents are pastors. And my dad and I were driving in a VW Bug and he was playing Chuck Smith on the radio. I remember the
From
message.
Calvary-
And then,
Calvary
yeah,
Chapel.
Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa. And then he gave like that end, invitation. And my dad pulled into like Stater Brothers or some grocery store. And I said, it was almost like the entire little Volkswagen Bug there was just this warmth, and it was just almost tangible. It was light, it was warmth, it was fiery. I can't it's way too hard to describe, but so I had that experience, and I did grow up in the church. My mom was a worship leader, and so I never really like left my faith. I mean, of course, we all have struggles for sure, but I have also had demonic attack against
Wow.
me, like,
Physically?
yeah,
Wow.
where I couldn't get out of. I think I was in 5th grade, and I couldn't get out of bed because something was like pushing me down, and I tried to get up like a few times to go to the bathroom, and I ended up.
Like
You felt that
sleep
before?
paralysis, sort of?
Yeah. No, it was like like somebody was just
Pressure.
pressure. Yeah, I wasn't dreaming. Like I was wide awake, like getting up, and I was like, okay, like I was totally aware. I had some other experiences with that, like when I was 15, and yeah, I just think it's that all of that's so interesting,
Yeah.
to me. It's just so real.
Yeah.
Like for
And I was just gonna say, but I think like until you really get into the word,
Mhm.
it sounds it sounds like made up
cuckoo.
and wacky, right? When you talk about the spiritual
Mhm.
realm, but
Mhm.
then you look at what's happening, and it's like it makes total sense, like
Mhm.
how the lack of, in my opinion,
Yeah.
the lack of a belief in God,
Mm.
you're seeing the logical conclusions of living like that in our society, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just saw what happened at the White House. I
Mhm.
mean, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Mhm.
But that's sort of like
Mhm.
the opposite of you know, living in the Word and in the Spirit. Um, and I got to ask you, because was your daughter receptive to the Christian message, or did it take a little while for her to sort of warm up to it? Because you know she's young.
Mhm.
Yeah. We have 2 kids, so you haven't met our son. We have a son.
Oh,
named-
I haven't met
Yeah,
your
yeah.
son.
We have a son named Justice, and our
Mhm.
daughter's Harley.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And
They both do music.
they're both musicians.
Mhm.
Justice is kind of like a wild, almost like a David Bowie meets David, yeah,
Sonic
yeah,
Youth.
meets
me-
Sonic Youth. So right, like noise rock meets this other thing. He's a really great person.
Mhm.
Harley, it's interesting because right, you raise kids, you never know. You love them with everything you have. That's the way you raise a kid. And do you make mistakes? Yeah, you make mistakes, but all you can do is give them everything you have. And Justice is a little more of an individual, where we were kind of like the same thing. Like, hey, you want to come along? You want to sit in with us? You want to do things? And he did it for a while when he was in his teens. And then like at one point, he's just like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
And then Harley,
Mhm.
she's like, she's funny. She has like so Marnie, my wife Marnie, and
Are you
Justice.
answering the question here?
Yes, I'm getting there. I'm sorry. I'm just like the background guy. I got to give you a little background.
No, I like
So,
it. I like it.
Yeah, so you know, Marnie and Justice are like really free flowing people, right? And so they're very artistic and maybe a little more whimsical, right? And I'm the dad. I'm trying to hold the whole thing together. So Harley comes along, and I remember she's like 18 months old or something, and she's in her room, and I go and I look at her in her room, and she has her toys out, and she's putting them all in straight rows like this, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Like like you sent me a daughter that has like order in her life.
She's more organized. Yes.
So yeah, and when she was like 4, we had a birthday party, and she, I guess, was under the impression that you were supposed to give kids toys when you were 4. That was like the
rule.
That was the rule.
Mhm.
And so one of our friends, Susie, gave her like a dress and all this stuff. And she looked at Susie and she's all, Susie, you are not supposed to give a dress for birthdays. You know?
I was mortified.
It was so great.
I was like, okay, I'm under the couch right now.
Yeah. So Harley's just turned out
But
to
she
be.
laughed.
Yeah.
Susie laughed.
Susie
Thought it was
laughed. It was hilarious. But Harley's turned out to be this person that's been very open over time. And, you know, there's been different points in her growth as a person where as parents, we challenged her to grow, you know, and she responded really well. And then as far as music goes, you know, she's just said like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of this. And then, you know, some of the times you're going deeper, like, oh, hey, we're going to like this. No, that's good. So little bit of our music. What's happened is over time, as things have gotten deeper commitment wise, we've always just kind of said, I'm like her dad. I'm like, hey, you know, what do you think? Do you want to go? You want to keep going, or you can cut out right now? It's okay. And she's just always been like, yeah, actually, I want to keep going. Like, I want to go deeper. I want to go out on the road with you guys. I want to write with you guys.
Mm.
And in the midst of all that is her spiritual relationship. And she's just been a really open person. And I feel like now she's 20 now, and
Mhm.
she's very much pursuing God. And sometimes out of the 3 of us in the room, some of the time she could be the healthiest, most spiritual person, which is awesome,
That is
right?
awesome.
To have the young
Mhm.
person, I'm like, wow, like you're challenging me right now. I'm going
Mhm.
to take that, you know?
Yeah, she's really fired up.
That's cool.
And you know, I think she's, you know, both of our kids accepted like Jesus into their heart, said that prayer when they were little. And then you just kind of, yeah, she's definitely made that said yes. I always say it's like every yes
Mhm.
to the Lord, every yes to God. It's like she just, she's being blessed. She's thriving, and she gets favor like wherever she goes. It's really cool. And a lot of people want to be around her because she's just like this joy bomb.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's the one of the things that I've been sort of I guess you could say convicted on
Mm,
is uh is the test, the barometer. I think if you're really living in the faith,
mhm,
is have you been transformed to where people can see it?
Mm.
mhm,
Yeah.
And sometimes I catch myself saying, like, if I'm that's the test for me.
Yeah.
And like you said,
mm,
she's a joy uh because of the joy of God is in her.
mhm,
And man, and when you do that sort of the barometer of a test, it kind of keeps me in check about,
mhm,
man, especially when I stress out about stuff, when
mhm.
God's like, hey, give me your burdens, I'll take them on.
Wow.
And I'm just like, man, why, and
Yeah.
I check myself.
Mhm.
Do you think, you know, because you have young kids, are you optimistic or pessimistic about? Because I look at the world and I'm just like, man, things are things are getting wacky. Like God is, but I'll tell you this much though. So on the one hand, I feel like uh, society is hating God more,
Mm.
but at the same time, I tell people going with the current nonsense
Mhm.
is so cliche that to
Mhm.
me now Christianity seems like it's more punk rock than going right, because
Yeah.
Mm.
going with the flow is saying
Mhm.
whatever the latest trend is.
Mhm.
But now if you say you're a Christian, you're
Mhm.
gonna get like shunned just like you would when you were a punk with weird hair.
You're right.
So
Mhm.
to me,
Mhm.
Christianity is more punk rock
Yeah.
than all the woke nonsense, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I
agree.
remember when there was like that sort of saying like counterculture, like countercultural, like it was like skateboarders, like, man,
Yeah.
counterculture, right?
Or the
Like,
hippies.
yeah, yeah. And now like
Mhm.
it's counterculture, right? I mean, it's a shame. I mean, from the musicians, from my point of view, like I've always thought that musicians are people that are going to stand up for freedom and these different things,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not seeing it right now. And the guys that have stood up, even like some of the old school guys like Eric Clapton and what was it, Eric Clapton, Roger Waters.
Someone
Oh yeah, Roger
Yes.
Waters.
Yeah, right.
I
Like
saw
they,
that interview.
yeah, they like stood up, and
They
man,
said it.
everybody's just like coming down on those guys, and I'm like, yeah, what was that?
I don't know if it was somebody in Kiss. Did they stand up?
Oh, maybe Paul
Was it
Stanley. I think
something? I don't
he
know.
was standing up against some stuff, but it's pretty rare right now, right? Like you're
Mhm.
kind of waiting for the artist to stand up
Mm.
and speak for freedom,
They're
and they're just
afraid.
going
They're
the way
fearful.
of everybody else,
Yeah, even Johnny Rotten is the same way.
Right?
He was even
Mhm.
like I think he said he echoed similar sentiments because he's
Mhm.
Yeah,
he's like the epitome of punk,
he's the
right?
epitome of
And
punk.
he's just like, dude, like
Mm.
I'm more punk than
Yeah,
because he's going against the established narrative. I'll leave it at that.
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. I mean, I feel hopeful because I feel like
Mhm.
there's still room to like one-on-one, to treat a human with value and dignity and kindness, right? I can't
Mhm.
tell you how many times we just like gone into a coffee shop and just talked to some girl behind the counter like, hey, what's going on, how you doing, just like, just talking to her, engaging with her, and then she brings us her coffee and she's like, you guys, everybody's been mean to me for like
Wow.
2 months. Like everybody's just mad when they come get their coffee. And we're like, really? Like, you're cool. Like, everybody should be cool with you. So
Yeah.
you realize like you
Mm.
can make a difference one-on-one.
Yeah.
Maybe nobody's going to see it, but that's how
Mhm.
good things happen, right? That's how
Yeah.
we share music. That's how we
Yeah.
Mhm.
share ideas. We share them
Mhm.
one-on-one.
And I think
Yeah.
we saw that too with when we did that little event with the homeless people in Santa Ana.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just a quick background. Evan, who's the guy that runs the little I don't want to say church group, but kind of, at his house. He just invited you guys, invited me, and a couple of other people from what's it? I think Set Free Ministry,
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, do you guys want to go help feed some homeless people in Santa Ana? What's the name of the place?"
It's called
The
it's something shelter. It's like the street that it's on. Let me see. Look on my phone. Shelter?
They got huge walls.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's in Santa Ana.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And the thing that the big takeaway from that was that we all went there with just really good intentions, right?
Mhm.
Somehow Evan was able to get food for everybody,
Yeah.
and everybody was cool, right? Like the people,
Yeah.
nobody was like, because usually if there's like a quote unquote church event, people are going to be like, "Oh man, I don't want to hear it."
Yeah.
But I think because we went there with just good intentions,
Yeah.
everybody was cool, and I saw you guys.
Yeah.
I wish I was I wish I was as social as you guys. It's funny because Evan's like talk to people. It's like trying to throw me because Evan's like a super social guy.
He is
And,
super extrovert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more of a one-on-one kind of. I'm a quiet guy,
Mhm.
believe it
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
But my point is that
Yeah.
we went there with like really really good intentions, and
Mhm.
and actually we're gonna go back
Yeah.
on the
Did you figure
Is
it out?
that the 30th?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you figure it out?
No, it's just like buried in my text. I couldn't find it. It'll come back
It'll
to
come
us.
Alfred, do we have any callers? Or
We actually did, man, but George dropped off. He was waiting, and he didn't want to,
Oh,
he did
man.
not.
Aw.
He told me, he says, I do not want to mess up the groove, like he wanted to talk
Aw.
and say something, but
Oh,
he
man.
just
Alright.
waited it out. But it's okay. It's all
Yeah,
right.
you guys.
He'll call back. The number to call again, 714-464-0747.
is it flashing?
It flash. It actually what it does is just it goes right into the feed. So if we're listening to their music now, it'll just come into their feed. So if they call, it'll come directly.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Just so they'll kind of interrupt up this, but he was being patient. He says, nah, they're in this this nice
Nice.
conversation,
Aw.
but nice flow. I don't want to interrupt. So George, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks for texting too. Let me know. I got a question for you all.
Yeah.
Lower down a little the music. Okay. And so question for you. How what inspired you as a music? What inspired you? Meaning like you as musicians, to bring in music as a ministry. So what inspired you? Like what was your inspiration? I know you probably your history, you were probably part of the the punk band, like that. But what inspired to bring your music and your talent into ministry as a family? Because you guys, there's 3 of you that are doing ministry together.
Yeah.
What inspired you?
Yeah. I don't think it was anything that like we set out to do. I think that there's just passion. That's just what it is. It's just passion in our hearts and how much we love Jesus. And yeah, I mean, that's, I guess I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I have friends that write worship songs. For the life of me, I have tried to write a worship song,
Yeah.
and it's so I can't do it, and it feels forced, and it's weird. And then, even when we played like in secular places for years and years, there was always a message.
Yeah.
Whether it was subtle or not subtle in certain songs, but it's almost like I can't not do it. I'm just being myself. I'm just being who I am. And so,
No, that's good though.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
keep your voice.
Yeah. I think it's like, you're a human being, right? You want to connect with other people. And like for me, when I listen to songs, I'm like, what's it talking about? Right. And sometimes it kind of falls short, like it doesn't, like I feel like the music's deep, but it's not taking me anywhere. So I'm like, well, everybody feels free to share their thing, whatever, if it's booty call or what, who knows
Right,
what
right.
it be, or it's just
Right.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, like we're living life too, and we're trying to figure it out. So why don't we share how it is for us to figure it out? Like, what are we trusting in? what's fun to us, what's challenging for us. And in the midst of it, surprisingly, it's not like a compartmentalized thing where like, oh, like God is this part of your life.
Mm.
He like steps in and becomes like your life. Like
Mm.
he's there, he's with you, right? Like Jesus is like, they call him Emmanuel, God with
Mhm.
us, right?
Mhm.
So like God is always with us. So we're like, well, we're going to keep making music. You know, I
Mhm.
love music. I'm going to make music, and well, God's with me, you know?
Mm.
And that's so you just do it with him.
No, but I'm glad
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
are doing it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before you guys played at Evan's house, I go, oh man, it's gonna be a corny. It's gonna be corny Christian, you know, like, Dad, I love you. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, that's my
You were
like.
like,
At first, I
bro.
was like, oh no, it's gonna be cringe. Don't do this
Oh.
to me. But then when I heard the music, and I was like, oh
pretty
man,
good, pretty
it is
good.
good.
Yeah,
It's good
thanks.
music, and without I think having to I guess sacrifice your I guess your values,
Mm.
but still not be corny. I think
Totally.
that's where,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think that's where a lot of like Christian. Can we be honest?
Of
Most
course.
Christian music is horrible,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think they stick to the same template. And I don't know.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
grew up
There's a very
more.
similar drum sound that spans across many songs.
It's like
and
they
and
go through the same
similar
production.
similar
Yeah.
choruses
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
not
That's
choruses.
fair.
Yeah, choruses and because the same thing sort of happened. I come from like the hip hop music.
Yeah.
It's funny though because there's a couple of callers that called in that knew me
Yeah.
from back in the hip hop days.
Nice.
And they called in like this George guy's like a music producer guy,
Oh, cool.
and then Tim's another guy, and it was just like when they called in, it was like taking a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
But something similar, I think, kind of happened in hip hop was like the old school raps. They had positive messages,
Hmm.
and here's the irony: the old school guys that were real gangsters in the street that were doing hip hop music
Yeah.
were giving advice about not to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ice-T was a Rolling
That's right.
60s Crip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all these other guys, they're like, don't do it. And then today, guys that are not from the street are saying, oh, like Rick Ross.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
got a friend, Noriega,
Yeah.
I'm pushing drugs. And then you find out he used to work as a correctional officer in real life. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
my God.
Okay.
And he was not gang. I mean,
okay.
he's the
Yeah.
opposite of gangster, but he's just like every day I'm hustling. And
Yeah.
it's just it's
It's not
the
like
more real the
genuine.
people were,
Yeah.
the less they try to show you like, hey, it's just
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Yeah. It's like they were trying to
Mm.
enrich the next generation and like bring them up,
Yeah.
versus, yeah.
Wait.
Raise the bar, raise the values, raise the morale.
Do we have any callers?
The numbers up there. We're just waiting for some folks to
All
call
right.
in.
Is there
While,
any
while they wait,
Is there any comments?
we just have a couple of comments. Let's see. We have we're the culture, we're the counterculture. We have Elizabeth says, "You're the Lord, it's just enough." I guess during the song and the lyrics, they were just asking. Somebody said,
Mm.
"Corn, what's up, bro?"
Yes.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
just
Oh,
going.
okay.
It's just starting. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's just starting to flow again.
I saw. Okay, so Elizabeth
Uh huh.
Tepper, she said, "You're just enough to spin my world around," and that's exactly, you got it. She said, "I'm thinking the Lord is more than enough," and that's it. She totally got it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
he's otherworldly. It's
That's
a
right.
different kind of a love.
Yeah.
So
Agape.
He's gonna flip it.
He's gonna flip it. That's
Yeah.
right. That's during the time that you guys were singing. So just
Okay.
FYI, people are paying attention to the lyrics.
cool.
Nice.
They're paying attention to the music. Remember, all this here is it's to be able to show, this is what you all do. I got one more question. How does being a Christian influence your music? How does being a Christian influence your music? because in a sense, these questions that I'm asking is just because it brings in something that you have. You guys, you're essential. This is your essential. This is who you are. I'm a Christian, my belief. So when you're creating, what happened? What comes in? Your principles, your morals. Boom, you influence it into your music. But how does you, being a Christian, influence your music?
Meaning, is there something different about it? Is that kind of like what you're feeling like, or how does it enrich what I do? I'm just like more specifically.
Exactly. So meaning like who you are, right? Of course, you're a Christian, you're a believer, right? You write, certain lyrics, meaning what you do. How, or let's put it this way: how you being a Christian influence what you do in the music that you do?
Yeah.
How does it?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna just be kind of like current. I see it, right? Like the thing about Jesus is he's like comfortable everywhere. Like Jesus is always like going to these places where everybody's like, hey, what are you doing? You can't go there. Like you shouldn't be hanging out with those people, right? But then there's the other side of life that like God gives people gifts and talents, right? Some people have trade, some people are business people, some people are creative, some financial people. Like Jesus can do all that. Like Jesus would be okay on Wall Street. He'd be okay in the locker room with the basketball team. Like Jesus could hang anywhere because
but only with the Lakers usually.
But so it's kind of like I go, well, who am I? Like I'm gonna do this thing and try to figure out how to do it. Maybe like how Jesus would inspire me to do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And so really like where I'm at in my life right now is I actually like feel challenged. Like there's this idea of discipleship, like growing, like sort of like how are you growing or becoming mature, or some people would say more like Christ, right? Because he's just the epic, pinnacle person that ever lived. I feel like now I'm to the point where the art or the music, it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot to write, to record, load gear, go out and rehearse and go on the road, do all those things. I feel like that's a part of my discipleship. Like, can I be faithful? Like, am I going to just sit on the couch and like watch TV and like binge Netflix? Or am I going to, right? Or am I going to like go write a song? Am I, so like, that's what, like as a family, the three of us working together, that's like, we're trying to learn to like push each other, like keep each other accountable. And then also like, can we serve each other too? That's so awesome. Can we be like servants in our band, like,
and so push each other?
Yeah. And so push each other. So that's kind of like, I see it as like an opportunity for me to grow in following God and being a disciple by saying, am I willing to like show up and really do this, commit myself to it?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's actually a good answer, because we always bring who we are as the essence of God in everything that we do. So what you're saying is like, hey, before a musician, because I've seen this before. Remember back in the 90s, part of the groove movement, I think it was a huge movement with not only Skillet and all these big bands, right? And for a sense, I've kind of lost in tune a little bit, because it was like, okay, they're touring. So I'm just thinking, how do they find that balance? So how do you find that balance? Right now, you mentioned you're getting ready to travel. You guys are doing this. How do you find that balance between the family, ministry? How do you guys do it? Because it must be tough.
It's a word.
It's you,
and it's spelled N-O.
No.
You have to,
Kobe Bryant had a good quote about that. He said, when you don't want to do something and you do it, you don't want to do it. You're tired. You don't want to do it. He goes, that's the dream.
That's the dream.
So he flips it. And that's why he was so damn good.
Right.
He's
right.
And if you think about it, it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. He goes, that's the dream.
Yeah.
to do the thing you don't want to do. I mean, that's how psycho
so
Kobe
good.
Bryant was.
And that's how psycho you prepare you get
I
ready
Yeah.
for it.
know.
Transform.
I
That's
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
transformative. Yeah. Wow. Sad that we don't have
I
Kobe.
mean, yeah, I know.
Kobe
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah. That's a good word, man. I like
Yeah,
that.
Kobe.
I like that,
Mhm.
Kobe.
That's
Flip
good.
it.
Do we have any callers?
Not yet. No. What do we do? Can
Yeah,
we do
a
another?
song. Yeah,
Can we
yeah,
do a
do
song?
Yeah, do a song. Maybe that'll motivate them.
Let's do it.
Let's do "Wait on You." Just let you sing a bit.
Really? Okay.
All right.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm
And
sure.
stick around when I'll sing Guantanamera at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Do it.
Oh, man.
Awesome. That's awesome. Here we go.
Ah, so good. Here we go.
You got anything to say?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
If we don't get, hey, listen, if we don't get callers,
Yeah.
they're not gonna play no more music. So you got to warn the people. Man.
They're watching. The numbers are there.
All right.
This is called "Wait on You." I can say that.
Yeah.
Here's
You
a
know.
scripture, Micah 7:7. But as for me, I will watch expectantly for the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. Quiet, secure at your feet in a noisy world. We enter thy mystery, abandon ourselves, and in our hunger, love grows stronger. Wait on you. Wait. We're gonna wait on you. Your love is forever. Hold us together. I'm hearing my daughter's drum parts in my head. There's a grace and it flows from your throne, unexplainable peace. We trust in your holiness, falling to our knees, and your love, it grows stronger. It's spilling over. Wait. We're gonna wait on you. Wait. Yeah. We're gonna wait on you. Your love is forever. That's right. Hold us together. He's gonna come through for you. You're gonna rise up with wings like eagles. Just wait, he'll be there. Yeah.
Your love is forever. Hold us together. Your love is forever. You hold us together.
Yeah. Yeah. Give it up for the breeders.
That's awesome. I got just Jerry says first time tuning in. Great podcast. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks,
Somebody,
Jerry.
George said, is this Lexit? Lisa
See-
Spencer saying yes.
So
Yeah.
good.
So good.
Thanks for
All
joining
inclusive.
us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is why you guys should tune in every Tuesday. You don't know what you know what you get.
Mhm.
It's like what was it called? The grab bag.
Yeah, the grab bag. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's old school. You don't know what you're
Yeah.
gonna get.
You don't know
Yeah.
what you're gonna get. Yes, it's Lexit. And really quick, the reason why you're joining in and you're seeing these fantastic folks is because we're actually explaining in regards music, ministry, and family, right? And so we're getting in depth with the Holly Bells who are here live, performing live stream. And they're explaining a little bit about who they are, what they do, and we've been grilling them on the questions, bro.
There's softball.
Keep it up.
So another plug? Where can people find the Holly Bells?
At the Holly Bells, Instagram and Facebook. The Holly Bells, THE Holly Bells,
Mhm.
all one word.
Not holly berries.
We
We've
get
been
that.
called the
yeah.
holly berries.
The Holly
For real?
Berries. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you a funny story. When I did, so I did a comedy show in Pasadena, right? And the person, there's usually a host. They always say, "How do you want to be introduced?" Right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to be kind of, because all these usually people always say, "Oh, this guy's been this, he's done this show."
Yeah,
To me, that's boring, right? So I go, I want to say something true about myself. So I wrote on a piece of paper, "I like to eat hummus." Right? That's how I want to be introduced. The following guy likes to eat hummus. So
Yeah.
the guy goes up there. He goes, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, coming up to the stage, real funny guy. His name's Israel. He likes to eat humans." I was like, "Whoa, time out."
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, "No,
Oh,
yeah, it's like I'm a cannibal."
what
Yeah, you're trying
is
to keep it really
happening?
simple and
Yeah,
What?
it takes Head and Shoulders to a different level. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Wow.
But that's a true story. That's a
How'd
true
you get
story.
out of
So
that?
crazy.
Exactly.
Well,
Wow.
I made a dirty joke.
Yeah,
about
yeah,
eating
yeah.
people.
Yeah, you gotta shock everybody.
Yeah, at that point, what
Yeah,
do you do?
but yeah, this guy likes to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that it happened again another time. Something similar.
Mhm.
I think I told her just say. Anyway, they ruined it. I said I like just say that I like burritos.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Carne asada burritos.
yeah.
And
Sounds good.
screwed all that up.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
Mm.
Yeah.
true
Oh,
story.
goodness.
Do we have any callers?
God.
No
That
callers,
is
not
so
yet, man. Everybody,
good.
there's
Everybody's
people
quiet.
watching, bro. They're paying attention because
Yeah.
everybody's like, what? You know, they're
Hey.
trying to adjust. You know, this is
Yeah.
new.
You know,
So,
the playoffs are over though. So
Exactly. There's no excuse. Where's
Where-
Tim? Where's George?
where's-
There's all these other people.
there's
saying-
people
Yeah.
there
I was
paying
thinking-
attention.
I was thinking, what is that hope? We have a little saying about hope. That little, the little tagline. Okay, so we
Yeah.
absolutely love this guy named Steve Backlund, and he has a podcast named, it's entitled Igniting Hope.
igniting hope. Yeah.
And what does he say?
He's got some
We
cool
listen to
stuff.
him like
Well,
daily.
He's got
weekly.
one thing he always says.
Just
It's
a
like
little share.
the
right now.
person with the most hope in the room has the most influence, which I think is
Oh.
pretty cool. And then he says that
It's the
any
second one.
any thought that comes into your mind that's not attached to hope, like a possibility of something good happening, is probably built on a lie.
Mm.
If it's not a
How's
if
that?
it's not attached, your
How's
thought
that?
that's not attached to
Wow.
hope is
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
a lie.
So we
Mhm.
we binge on that stuff.
Yeah, he's helped us grow a
Yeah.
lot, and you know, yeah,
That's cool.
That's
Yep, and yeah, I don't know. I
You
was
know,
just
you know, had a lot of hope too.
Mm-hmm.
Bob.
Bob.
Who's Bob?
Bob Hope.
Oh,
Hey, we were just in Palm Springs.
Hey, we were
you
just
should have got
making
that
sure
one.
you guys
I
were
know.
awake.
Yes.
Shoot.
So good.
I gotta work on my timing.
Yeah, exactly. It was way off. That was like, it was like
I do it all the time. Like I'm talking to customers and I'll just crack a joke, but I say it in a serious,
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. So there's this new comedian, right? That's like the you'll appreciate this because you guys are a musician. There's a comedian that's like up and coming guy, right?
Okay.
He's kind of like the new Dane Cook. I don't even know his name, but he's just like this young 20-something-year-old chiseled guy, right?
Yeah.
And so all these people, there's some people on social media like, oh, you guys are just jealous, and some people will be like, oh, if you don't like him, you're jealous, basically. And all the girls are like, oh, he's hot and he's funny. You guys are just jealous, right? So I posted a picture. He kind of looks a little bit like the Ian from Joy Division,
Oh, nice.
right? Ian, I forgot his last name, but you know, the lead
Yes.
singer that
Yeah.
from Joy Division.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted a picture of Ian who kind of looks like this guy.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, man, you guys are hating on, he goes, anyone that's hating on this, I forgot the comedian's name.
Yeah.
You guys, I don't know why you guys are hating him. The guy's a rock star. So everyone thought that it was really him.
Oh.
So the funny thing is people are responding like, yeah, I know him and I did shows with them.
Yeah.
Or yeah, he's been grinding, doing comedy for a long time. The whole time they don't know that
No way.
they're not even in on the jokes. It's like my own little, I'm rejoicing in the fact
Oh
that
yeah.
that they don't see the irony that
yes.
dude, that's not it. And the irony is that they're claiming that that's their buddy or I know him.
Mhm.
It's like
Wow.
you don't even know that that's not even a picture of him.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So
That's like when I on stage, I like to just, well, I like to entertain like you. So at one point I was related to Jerry Garcia. I mean, there are so
Just pull
many.
anything out.
I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
say things in the microphone. I don't know. It's almost like it gives you this permission. No, that's kind of scary. But yeah. I
mean,
just love saying, and then people come up to me after, really? You know, after he
Yeah.
passed away, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, thanks.
it's totally,
Oh
totally
yeah,
made up.
and that
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. I just or just any
Just get people's attention.
anybody in the
Mhm.
getting attention. That's
Yeah,
it.
but I thought that was funny.
No, it's
No,
good.
they totally didn't get
It's
the joke.
good. It's good.
I'll show you the post later.
Yeah.
And
let's see
well, the
that.
funny thing is people are responding like, and then another friend, she goes, if that's him, that's the worst picture I've seen of him. It's like, and I want to so bad say, dude,
Oh my
it's not
gosh.
even him. Don't you know that's the joke?
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
so
a
good.
test case.
It is
What's
kind of a
really
test.
going on out there?
Yeah.
What is everybody believing?
Mm.
That's
That's
good.
good. That's
Yeah.
This has been so
Yeah,
fun.
our daughter posted real quick on Instagram, you know, that we're gonna be on here, and then she's like, "Dad, is this like the right thing?" And like she was looking at your thing, she's like, "It's like a political movement." She goes, "Are we going there? Are we doing that?" I'm like, "Yeah, check it out. It's really cool."
Yeah. Well, it's funny
I
'cause-
love that.
So actually, you know what?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, so just to let you know, and so your daughter can feel safe. So Lexit is, we're part of the OC,
Yeah.
I guess, chapter, and they're all over the U.S. But it's mainly, yeah, we do talk a lot about politics, mainly right leaning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the majority of us are Christian, but not everyone. There's people that are.
Yeah.
There's some people that are not even Christians, right?
That's right.
And but it's about just bringing awareness.
Yeah.
And the main thing for us as Hispanic people is trying to break the idea that you have to be a Democrat. It's so like ingrained
Yeah.
within,
Mm.
especially with Hispanics or Black people that,
Yeah.
or if you're Black and you're a Republican, you're a sellout.
Yeah.
Or if you're Mexican, or you're a whitewash, and that's a main reason why we do this podcast
Yeah.
is to let people know, like, you don't have to do one thing. And quite frankly, if you look at who's pushing all the all the wackiness, it's funny because my sister, she just started going to a Christian church, so she's cool with being Christian. But then I tell her, like, hey, you do realize that a lot of the Democrats are pushing a lot of this nonsense, right? Well, like that's the line. So that's how deeply ingrained political affiliation is, to the point where, like, I'll try to talk to my mom and she's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear about what's happening. So no, but yeah. And then this podcast it's a little bit more every week it's different. Yeah.
It's different. Actually, Israel came with the idea, and he said, hey, I want to start doing, like, interviews with musicians and people, like, just to open up the platform, businesses. It could be it could be people that love God, you know what I mean? And so for us, I'm speaking for myself, right? Israel can speak for himself. I'm speaking that Lexit is a movement. It, primarily a lot of people within Lexit are actually considered conservative. Like he's mentioned, we're religious, we're Christian, but we also understand that, the way, politics works and how it affects, a certain minority, it affects us all different. But at the same time, we're trying to break that narrative, like, hey, you need to lean a certain way, or you need to vote in a certain way. No, just vote your moral values. You know what I mean? Like vote, to protect a life, vote to stand in truth, vote. And who does it? I mean, at the end, don't focus on the person, focus on
the policy.
Exactly the policy that hindered you or hinder us. Like, for example, me, it's a completely different, for me, I grew up I'm kind of like, as we consider, I'm stuck in between. What I mean that is, I was born in Mexico, but I migrated when I was back in 1983, when I was a little boy. I didn't have nothing to say, you see, but now that I'm here, I don't relate with them because I didn't grow up there. See what I mean? So I'm stuck. So a lot of people say, well, where are you? I'm like, well, I'm Chicano, like, meaning like, hey, Chicanos are people that, are here, grew up here. Their culture is not necessarily, this is another completely different culture. And within it, we understand that there's certain policies that are being thrown at us as minorities or Latinos or whatever. I say at us because it affects us all. I strongly believe that, as we all know, this is a battle between good and evil, but we understand that it's being fomented in policies. And so your daughter's right to say, hey, are we right here? You guys are right. You guys, and you guys be at peace, because, as you know, Israel made a perfect example. We're here in the OC is different, but we're the same organization. But we stand, again, morally, we stand with truth. We stand with God. You know what I mean? And we actually, that's one of the things that we talk about. We don't tell you, hey, vote for that party or this party or that. But in a sense, we want to bring awareness that voting for that, because that's what we grew up. I mean, believe me, my mom, she didn't even vote, but she says, you got to vote that way and blah, 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 because they're going to help you, blah, blah. And you're just kind of like, okay, mom. And that I could relate with what Israel's saying. Like, when it comes down to politics, it's kind of the same thing. Some of us that I grew up out of Catholic. But when I made a decision to follow Christ, that hit a nerve in mom. And she says, wait a minute, what are you doing? You see, that's the same thing. Sometimes it happens when it comes down to having a conversation about politics. It's there. It's kind of like the elephant in the room, right? It's there. It's about to trample you. Nobody wants to talk about it, but you must talk about it. You must air it out and vent and have discussions. And nowadays, Latinos or anybody for that in general, nobody wants to talk about it.
Nobody wants to talk.
And nobody wants to have a discussion about
and
it.
what's really, I don't know if you guys, and now we're going to pivot a little bit into politics, but if you guys saw what happened in Glendale, there was parents, and just to show you why politics matters, in Glendale, they started introducing a lot of LGBT to the kids. And so a lot of the Armenian parents, most of who are Christian, and there's some Muslim, had a big demonstration against it. And some religious folks, but it was mainly the Armenians. And then in other places, you're seeing Muslims and Christians
uniting, saying, "Dude, what's going on? Like,
What's going on?
stop sexualizing children, right?"
Yeah.
But a fight breaks out
Yeah.
between the people that want to push it and the Armenians. But in the media, they'll say that it was white
Right.
nationalists,
White nationalists, right wing.
Yeah.
right wing.
Yeah.
So, and that's the trick that politicians are using, is they'll just label you. Like if you say, "Hey, I kind of don't agree with like the parents." I mean, and most of the times we do talk about politics
Yeah.
because it's happening, but they labeled these Armenians and they're brown and hairy people, white nationalists. Why?
Yeah.
Because they're fighting against the powers that be, and
Yeah.
you're seeing a lot of this. I mean, it's another thing that's happening also with the schools, and this is documented. So when there were parents that were speaking out against sexualization of materials in schools,
Yeah.
like
young,
10-year-olds?
young kids.
yeah, that
Yeah.
just perverted stuff. So parents will go to these meetings. This administration, this is why politics matter. This administration sent the FBI to label those parents domestic terrorists,
Mhm.
to silence them. I mean, this is where we're at,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
federal agencies are being weaponized to silence political opponents.
Yeah.
And who's doing it? I'm sorry, it's the
Mhm.
Democrat. I mean, if you can show me where, like I told my sister, I'm like, all this wackiness. She's like, well, it's both of them. I go, show me when Trump did something similar to that.
Yeah.
It just pales. And it's not that Trump's like flawless. He's not. But if you look at who's pushing the policies,
Mhm.
just look at what letter is next to that policy. And if it's usually
Mhm.
anti-God and anti
Mm.
freedom, there's usually a D. Like
Mhm.
there's just this legislation in California where they can withhold information from your kid. Let's say your kid wants to transition,
Mhm.
they can withhold that information from you
Yeah.
and get the procedure done.
Yeah.
So the same people that we're saying are not mature enough to vote or mature enough to consent
Mhm.
for sex
Or drive a car.
or to drive a car,
Yeah.
they're mature enough to
Mhm.
change their reproductive organs.
Wow.
That's where we're at. And so
That's
that's why
crazy.
we have this
Yeah.
Like
podcast.
Alfred
Yeah.
said, it really is good and evil.
It really is.
It is.
Wow.
Mhm.
And that's
The
but
battle.
going back to what we talked about earlier is then you start seeing that it is a spiritual
Mhm.
battle,
Yeah.
because now you're seeing the manifestation
Mhm.
of it.
Yep.
Anyway,
100%.
Yeah.
do we have any callers?
It's still going. Man. It's
pretty
still.
chill.
They're still chilling. They're still listening, watching, hearing.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
good.
still there. Not yet. But I do have a question.
Mhm.
I love asking these questions.
Oh, it's fun.
So, how I'm gonna do a fun one. What is your favorite memory from performing together? What is one of the favorite
Well, that's a
memories from
good
performing together?
question. I
What
don't
is-
think anyone's ever asked us that.
Well, it's good because you guys should have a little time where, hey, that's gonna be right there in the bolt. Next time
Mhm.
somebody asks me, so
I know.
what is a good memory that you guys can relate? That hey, you guys travel
Do you
this
have
way.
one?
Want me
Somebody
to go? I
happened.
don't want to steal yours.
No, please, if you have one. I
Yeah.
have the worst one, but I don't have the best.
Okay.
That'll be a good one. Let's start with
Okay,
let's
yeah,
start with
let's
the
start with
worst
the
one.
worst.
The
Come on,
worst
what is
one
it?
is when we were playing at a club somewhere in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
This is a while back, and I got hit in the head with
About
the headstock of a bass,
Oh yeah.
and I literally just blacked out.
cold
So that
cocked
was
you.
not fun.
Wow.
No, and I mean I didn't totally go out, but I was
Right.
saw the stars and
star.
saw the whole like
Blur.
fainting.
Was that Luke?
Yes, blur,
Yeah.
blur. More,
It's like a Van
more-
Gogh painting.
Oh my gosh, it was
Pretty much.
horrifying.
Was
Oh,
that Luke?
goodness.
I don't know if it was
No?
Luke or
Okay.
Rod.
Okay.
Rod's like would jump around more, but I didn't know if I could make it even to the next song. I'm like, I have a concussion.
Wow.
What's going
Wow.
What's going on? That was the worst.
Okay. Okay, so we work with this tour since 2019. We work with this tour called Extreme Tour out of Nashville, and it's this really cool tour. What they do is they put on shows for kids in kind of, they call it underserved communities. So think of what you want to podunk, you know, it's going to be
Barstow.
Hemet, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
places that are just like,
They don't have a lot to do.
they don't
for
have
the
a lot
kids.
going
That's
on.
true.
It's
That's so true.
sad.
Yeah.
I grew up in
That's
the
true.
middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like 20 miles from Palm Springs in a place called Sky Valley. And the nearest gas station was 8 miles.
Yeah.
The nearest grocery store was like 15. Sorry, I just wanted to
Yeah.
say
So
that.
we do these. Yeah.
So
we,
I can relate
Wow.
to these
Yeah.
kids. I have my heart is just like
totally.
bleeding
That's why
for
so many
them.
in those communities do drugs
You're
because
right.
they're bored.
Completely.
Yes.
What else to do?
Completely.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe if you get lucky, some of these towns will have a skate park, which is like the coolest thing.
That's true.
And then we'll do a show at the skate park. So it's like 5 to 7 bands. We kind of throw like a little block party for them, do like competitions for the kids and all this stuff.
A barbecue, prizes,
But
and
the-
it's all different genres of music. So every band
That's cool.
is going to be, you're going to have like
It's
hip
super
hop
cool.
artists,
That's
and it's
awesome.
really fun.
So talk about miracles. It's like every show it has its own little miracles because there's people that are involved with bringing you into that town. But when you're in a place that nothing happens, nobody expects anything good to happen, right? So you're already going against what everybody believes. You know, like you go somewhere and you're like, hey, this place is pretty cool. And you're talking to someone, they're like, here? Like, this isn't cool. Like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
You're like, well, we're here and it's going to be fun tomorrow. Like, you want to come hang out with us. So we pull into this town called Emmett, Idaho. That's just like a farm town, little small town. And we're going to do an event like on a Friday. It's summer. We get there Thursday night and, you know, small towns close down at like 6 p.m.
Oh,
Okay. So it's like almost dusk and we got to hit the town. Like literally we got to hit the town. So we're driving through neighborhoods just looking for people. Like we got like a van and like if somebody's on their porch, we like roll the window like, hey, how you guys doing? Like you guys want to go to a concert tomorrow? Like that.
You want
Okay.
a flyer?
Yeah. You want a flyer? We're just
There's
canvassing.
a free show, and the bands are actually, they don't
Yeah.
suck. They're actually really good bands.
So
I mean, I like them.
yeah, so we pull up, and I usually have my daughter do it, so it's not weird. You know, you want
Yeah.
like some man in a van, right? Like a
Man
nice.
in a van.
You like
Yeah.
music?
Yeah, you like
I like
music.
music.
Yeah. So
Here, there's some candy.
man, yeah, exactly. We see these teens hanging out in
Right.
front of McDonald's, and we just pull up. I go, Harley, talk to them. So we pull up, and they're like, one of them's cross-dressed, you know, and he's I forget, you know, just super. It was fun. We pull up, we talk to them, random
They were
people.
so sweet.
We're like, hey, you guys want to come to our concert tomorrow? This is what we're doing. And they're like, there's a concert in our town tomorrow, right? So like their phones are like, boom, boom, boom.
There
Like
you
they're
go.
just lighting them up the second we say that.
Texting all their friends.
That's-
So,
that's cool.
so that night the city cancels our permit. So like they just call us and they go, oh, by the way,
You can't do
like you guys can't do it.
Mhm.
So there's like a 7-Eleven, like, but it's called Billy Bob's or something like that
Mhm.
next to the gas station. And like we're talking to people and everything. The guy's like, oh yeah, you could just play in that parking lot right there, like across the street. So we do this pop-up and we're letting people know, like, oh, it's gonna be at this place. And like all these kids show up, you know,
It was-
and
that actually was the best show ever.
and it's a lot of, you know, I don't know, is it okay to say it was like the trans community of the town? Like that's who
Okay.
showed up to our
That's good.
show.
That's good.
It was
And
so
we had the best time.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
We
like because of
danced.
our background, like we usually start the mosh pit. So like if there's like a heavy band, like, and we had this kind of like metal band
You
on
do.
tour. So we're just like, it's me and Marty and Harley, and we just start the pit, you know, we just started getting crazy and we had a mosh pit going and everybody's having so much fun, you know, just
It was
laughing and having the
better
most
than
amazing time.
Disneyland. It was
Just the best
so
time.
fun.
That's good.
And then we do this thing at the end where we just like shut the sound system off and we just play songs, okay? But we call it like campfire moment. Like, hey, you guys, we're just like sing some
Mhm.
songs. But you know, we're gonna
It's
sing
kinda
a song
worship
like,
songs.
you know, it's your breath in our lungs. You know, we pour out our praise. You know,
Mhm.
great are you, Lord. You know, like we're
Mhm.
singing songs like that.
Mhm.
And kids are all with us. They're all sitting in a circle and we're all singing. And you look around and like kids are like crying and everything. Like, so like, you know, we pull in this town and nothing's supposed to happen. Permits canceled. There's nobody around. And then the next day, all these kids show up and we had like the best time. Like that was like
That is a
greatest
That's what
show
I'm
It
ever.
was
talking
so
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah,
We
I
just
mean-
got to.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter's still in.
Yeah.
Still good friends with one of the girls.
Yeah.
That's
They
really
talk
cool.
all the time.
Yeah,
and
we
we were
came-
able to pray for her like over the phone and encourage her or just like FaceTime and yeah, that you nailed it. That was a highlight.
Yeah,
That
we
was
went
so
back to
good.
the area the following year, and this girl, is it Destiny? Is her name?
Mhm.
She texted Harley. She's like, "Can you have lunch with me and my dad? I want you to meet my dad." So,
So
we're
sweet.
like having lunch with this kid and her dad, and we got to
Mhm.
hear their story and everything. So yeah, I don't know. For me, that's just like one of the greatest things that ever happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, one more question. You guys are ready for one more?
We're
Sure.
All right.
fine.
I love
You guys
questions.
are so good.
So, what is how do you ever deal with criticism or negativity because of your faith or family bond? Like, because you guys reach people that are not Christian. I mean, even when you go and you say, "Hey," I bet right away you don't go and say, "Hey, I'm Christian," right? No. They actually go to the show, right? And they get to hear you, see you, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa, you're Christian?" You know. But sometimes some people will bring in a certain criticism because they had a bad experience.
Right.
Something happened to them with,
Mhm.
in the church.
Mhm.
How do you deal with that? How do you make things? How do you mends? Having that, being able to
Yeah.
convey a message, and now you're there. How do you change their mind?
Mm. I think we just treat them as
Such a
people,
good
right? We're just all
question.
people, right? We're trying to figure it out. Like every dude is basically my brother if he wants to be cool and just treat me like another human being. So that's all we're trying to do. We're saying like, hey, like especially when we're doing Extreme Tour, it's like, hey, like this is your turf, like this is your skate park or this is your city.
Mhm.
Like we know we're here, so we're like, can we hang out and just like have a good time together? It's not like, oh, we're here, like you guys need to come to our show, you need to pay attention to like our band, all our bands are cool. It's more like,
Mhm.
no, we're here, but it's
We
really
want to
like
celebrate you.
it's more about you.
you know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it is with friends, right? When you have a good
Mhm.
friend, you're like, yeah, I like being around them. They're funny or they're great to talk to,
Mhm.
or they got some quirky personality. You're like,
Yeah.
so you kind of fall in love with people. So I would say the only thing that we experience is just kind of the lack of imagination. Sometimes people can't imagine something, and even on both sides, like a church in the area or something, we can invite them, and so many times like they're just not there, right?
Mhm.
Like we're like, hey, why don't you guys come out?
Mhm.
Like best case scenario, some guy brings a grill and he just cooks hot dogs. I'm like, that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Like he just
Mhm.
cooks hot dogs and burgers for the kids all day. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's a perfect way to do. Just feed
Mhm.
everybody and be cool. But the like I'd say the biggest pushback that we had is sometimes it's like spiritual pushback you get in like
Mhm.
funky
Oh, we
towns.
have a lot of stories.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like you get in Eugene,
are
Oregon,
very
or funky
interesting.
places.
But someone I forgot.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Todd when he
Yeah.
called in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He made a good point. He says sometimes your job is just to plant the seed,
That's it.
and that's it.
And there's
Totally.
always going to be people that are critical. There's always going to be people that are walk away or want to cuss at us or whatever. But that is such a small percent when you look at the people that actually feel the love, because that's what we're conveying.
Right.
Is like like God like thought you up, like you're amazing, like you don't even know how much you're loved. If you did, so we can. It's just
it's the
yeah,
worth,
it's all about
the worth of the
it's all about
individual.
His
That's the thing.
love.
Yeah.
And
It's like Tupac said, "It's all about you."
Every
You know the song. You know the song.
Don't laugh. You know that's
No. But
He was.
Yeah.
without you quoting Tupac, that's
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's true.
No matter
Wisdom.
where I go. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everybody has, yeah,
That's
Also.
awesome.
Yeah. What?
No.
Somebody, I
plan
mean,
for their.
right. Like, I don't know. Somebody recently was just talking about personal worth, and they're like, well, like Jesus offered himself to everybody. Like everybody's got that worth, right? He wants to give everyone worth. He's willing to lay down his life for everybody,
That's right.
you know? So it's like, well, we're just trying to say, hey, we think you're worth it. Like he thought you're worth it, and we think you are
Yeah.
too, you know?
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
All right, one last question. Yeah, you want to
song.
do another song?
Yeah, some
Oh yeah,
song,
man. I'm
bro.
going with the. I said I was gonna grill them.
All
Didn't I
right.
say I was gonna grill? No, I'm kidding, guys. Yeah. So as we get prepared, everybody that you guys are paying attention, please share this live stream. For some of you that are plugging in and you're kind of like, what is going on? Has Lexit been hijacked? No, you missed it. We actually been here
Love
with
Lexit.
the Holic, and we're having a live performance. All right,
Cool.
you ready?
So this song's called Abundant Life, and it's about this thing that God wants to give you. And I don't always understand it, you know, but I'm just trying to like cooperate, right? That's like, what do they teach you in school when you're a little kid? Cooperate.
That's right.
I'm just kind of trying to cooperate with good, you know?
African number, I think. Probably. Background sound.
Lord, you lead me to the places I could never find by myself. With your voice you call, beckoning to abundant life. God, your ways are true and glorious, and you reach into the heart of man. You will never leave, you always lead to abundant life. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We cannot live by bread alone, but by every word from the mouth of God. Come and lead us to the abundant life. Lord, you lead me to the places I could never find by myself. With your voice you call, beckoning to abundant life. To abundant life. Lead us to the abundant life. You are
awesome.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And it's not, and I don't give out compliments that frequently. Hey, by the way, Alfred,
Yes.
an invitation for you too.
Yes.
I gave him the same invitation, but they
Sure.
they ignored me. Tacos
Oh,
in
Oh.
East LA,
let's do it.
Yeah, we're
That's
on
right.
that.
Let's do it.
and they
We're
said
on
yeah,
that.
but
yeah,
I want to push
let's-
too hard.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Just tell us when and let us know. Give us at least 3 days so we could go on a fast.
yeah, but there's
Yeah.
a really good spot. There's a little truck in East LA got the best tacos.
Oh,
That's
man.
right. There you go. Let's do it.
So the invitation
I'm
is open to you.
addicted.
Let's do it.
You guys, and it's
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
food. So
Oh
just
yeah, I can't wait.
I want this to be on record, so that way they'll be like, "No, you never said that."
never
I said,
said-
Let me send you the link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on your
Yeah.
podcast, bro. You said it.
Yeah, minute, whatever.
Yeah.
Where are we at time wise?
We're good. We got what an hour and we got what is it? I can't even read. An hour and 36. I think we're good.
They were good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So last call
Super good.
for phone calls. Otherwise, ya estuvo.
Yeah.
Can I do a little plug
Sure,
real
Yeah,
quick?
for sure.
So Wednesday in Fullerton, there's this thing called Day of Music, and it's basically actually something that happens all around the nation. It's just where towns will throw a free music festival. So there's a free music festival in Fullerton this coming Wednesday.
Awesome.
Oh, tomorrow?
Not tomorrow. I'm sorry.
okay.
The
June
next Wednesday.
21st.
June
21.
21st.
21.
June 21.
June
So
21.
yeah, we're playing 5 p.m. at a pizza parlor in Fullerton. So you can see that on our Instagram. So that'd be come
Which
have some
one? I'm just
pizza.
curious.
What's it called? We are just so not on it right now.
Yeah. Instagram. Follow them. It's called
Yeah.
The Holly Bells.
We've
Yeah.
already posted where it is. And
Yeah,
then-
it's
Okay.
on there. It's on there. And then the other thing is the Saturday after July 4th, or excuse me, Sunday after July 4th, July 9th in the afternoon, starting about 4 p.m. at the Night Owl. They've got a patio out back.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna play the Night Owl, but what's cool is we got our friends coming down from LA. They're kind of like R&B, a little bit of soul vibe. We're gonna play another folk singer named Dakota Gold. We'll have our drummer with
wow.
us.
Dakota Gold.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Well, that's
Dakota Gold's
cool.
gonna be playing, and then another guy
Yes,
named
you're gonna love.
Paul Layton, and he's got like songs on ESPN and stuff like that. So he's like kind of a cool. So we're gonna do four bands for free just on the back patio. Night Owl, Sunday, July 9th, 4 p.m.
I'll
Awesome.
follow you guys on
Instagram.
Instagram. Oh,
Cool.
and I finally got booked.
Finally.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called the
Is-
Bowery. Sorry.
Bowery.
Oh, the Bowery. The
It
Bowery.
is
Fullerton.
comedy.
Yep.
The 23rd of July, Sunday, 7 p.m. I'll be at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach.
Golly, bro. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, so go to
It's gonna be
that.
off the
All
hook.
right, adding it to the calendar.
Add it to
Okay.
calendar. Off the
So-
hook.
And
So
then-
anybody that wants to go, man, just go ahead and give us your details, and we're gonna get you some free tickets. you
talk
got
to
on
Johnny
there.
Flowers.
Talk to Johnny Flowers. Yeah,
yeah.
Johnny Flowers. We'll get you in contact with Johnny Flowers.
And I think we got the event with the homeless people, right? That's on the 30th.
The 30th.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
on a place where we
At the
Forgot the
place
name
with
of
no
it.
name.
it was.
I feel like a YouTube song.
I've been trying to get the address and the information for the last 3 weeks. He's like, I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you.
Next week I'll have it.
All right.
I got it. I got it.
You got
It's
it.
called Yale
I
Street
knew it was
Shelter.
one word. I knew it was one
Yale.
syllable. Like the-
YALE.
like
that,
Yale.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
like the
university.
university.
Yeah.
Yale Street Shelter.
No, I think you did mention Yale. You said it was something university, something. You said something like that.
There
I
you
remember.
go.
But
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you weren't able
Well,
to give me.
before,
It's a good
Yeah,
one.
before. Yale
Great.
Shelter. The Yale
Yale.
Shelter.
Mhm.
In a
not
couple
to be
weeks.
confused
We can
with
all pronounce that.
yeah.
Yale.
Yeah.
not jail,
Not
Jail.
jail.
not jail,
Jail with
Yale.
a Y.
not with
Nope.
the J. It's with the Y.
Yeah.
Jail you want to avoid.
This
Yeah.
is getting the people out. Yeah.
You want
So-
to.
Since we got no callers,
No callers. I don't know what's going on. People got. I don't know. They get panicked. They're like, it's fresh. I don't know. They're trying to feel it. They get the feel for it. So I apologize to the Hollies, but I know they were here. They were
Man.
ready.
So good.
They were
Yeah.
watching. They were commenting,
Yeah.
And
we
please,
appreciate it.
yep,
Yeah.
follow them on Instagram, the Holly Bells, and
Thanks.
and they're
We'll
awesome,
follow you.
awesome. Yep, they're an awesome group. I mean, I'm blown away here. Their live is just off the hook. Really quick before you go, I was gonna let you all know that I know that for some of you that are staying in contact with Lexit, because people want to, hey, what's going on with Lexit? You guys know, the 24th there's going to be a change of not change of venue, but it's actually going to be in a actual lot. So Lexit and a whole bunch of churches are going to get together and speak their name. Actually, they're calling it the prayer. It's the prayer. The prayer walk.
Yeah, prayer
At
walk.
Dodger Stadium. Okay.
Wow.
So there's going to be a stage. From my understanding, I just got confirmed. There's going to be a stage there, a sound. So they're trying to get worship bands to come on down. I mean, this is just such, such an amazing event because we're coming together and praying for that area. Remember, as you all know, this is a battle between good and evil, right? And we must declare war through prayer. Through prayer. I think it's a spiritual warfare, and we need to come out. And so everybody's getting together, not only Christians, Catholics, we're just coming out and just showing support. We were longtime fans of the Dodgers, as you guys know. Look at the Dodgers right there. And so we were just taken back a little bit with the things that they're doing, and instead of us, doing as we all want to boycott and burn their shirts, it's time to step it up and let's go and pray. So bring in yourself, and let's go and have a little good battle in prayer, because I know that this is a spiritual warfare. All right. So June 6th, June 6th. Yeah.
Any last words from you guys?
Yeah, prayer walk. That's amazing.
Prayer walk
Amen.
at Dodgers.
Amen. Yeah. Thanks everybody listening,
Yes,
and anybody
thank
who might
you.
see this. We just want to encourage you guys.
Cool.
Be kind.
And yeah, thank you guys for spending your day with us. It was a blessing.
That was amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you guys.
I was telling you
all
guys
of you.
today.
Johnny too.
Yeah, Johnny.
Help me.
Yeah, next time
Johnny
we're
over
gonna
here
have.
helped
you're
with our
invited too for the
guitars and the
taco run.
microphone and
Yeah.
everything.
Johnny-
Actually, you know what we should
Thank
do?
you.
Yeah.
When we do the taco run,
Yeah.
videotape it and show
That's
the
right.
people.
Yeah.
We
East,
will. We'll
East
handle
LA
it.
taco run.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They're gonna see how many tacos
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh
eat down.
man,
All right.
Yeah, we should-
I'm gonna hold you guys.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh no, we've already been talking about it.
We
Yeah,
have.
like
We're
when's that gonna happen?
All right, just give me a date and I'm
All
there. I'll drive. You guys come.
Okay.
There you go. There you
come
go.
out here. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Come to my place. I'm in Anaheim, and
Let's.
I'll go to the east side.
there you go.
Okay.
Also, don't forget, the Hollies can be found in Spotify. So listen up to their music. I found them. I was like, what? They're there? Yeah, they're there. The Holly Bells in Spotify. So go ahead and listen to their music. I mean, they got Oh Lord, My Shepherd. Man, come on. Look at this. Spin My World.
Yeah.
It's off the
Come
hook. I mean, come on.
Sounds like
You
Chick
got
Fil-A.
Pulse.
Hey,
You got the
man.
Pulse. Yeah, look at this. Actually, did you guys just do in 2018? You guys did a single right here. I'm looking at it.
Mhm.
And I know that off the hook, people are waiting for the new stuff. So you guys get ready.
Yeah, we
I
got.
Get
know,
that
we-
stuff ready. Come on.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Yep,
That's what we've been up to.
that's our discipleship. Get
Recording
it out.
new music.
That's awesome, you guys. Hey, well, thank you so much on behalf of Lexit and the team here.
Yeah.
We're excited. Thank you, everybody that commented. I know there's a few comments that just came in late. Christians that were praying at the Pride Parade were thrown out, and someone was arrested for praying in Tennessee. Don't worry. As you know, this is
Yeah.
a spiritual battle. We got to continue and push, and push and push and push.
And next week, we're
Yeah.
here every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, we
live
have people.
and direct.
Yeah, we have people that are just joining right now. It says Mickey O'Brien says, "Damn it, I missed the live again." Oh man, so so there's people that are, unfortunately they got work, but hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Who was late?
It was
like O'Brien?
Mickey O'Brien. He said, "Damn it, I
I
missed
expect that from Mexicans to be late. O'Brien, he's been hanging out.
it. It happens.
Well,
It
he's
happens.
Irish. Close enough.
Irish. That's true. All right, guys. We'll see you guys here next week. And we're going to stick around a little bit, but we're going to turn off the microphones. But we are going to listen to the Hollies and this last song.
Thank you. Thank you,
The
guys.
Alley Bells.
Blessed is the one who lives for righteousness. Mercy, compassion, a heart of tenderness. Everything will bloom and not wither. away.